Hi, I'm Lindsay Wheeler, and together with Christina Bacchini, we run Awakening Creativity, which is CPD and training for counsellors and coaches. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Anna Gordon, who is an executive and career coach living in London, and she works with leaders and people at all levels of an organisation on their personal and professional development. Anna is accredited with the ICF. She has a master's in coaching psychology and registered with BPS for psychometric testing. And today, Christina is going to be interviewing her to find out how and why she uses creativity with her clients.
So I've got a series of questions to ask you today, just to really basically talk about the creative work that you have done with us and how you're using that work in the environment in which you find yourself working as a coach. So what was it that inspired you to sign up for our workshops when you saw them? Yeah, what inspired you to sign up for them?
I think it was curiosity. I've always been someone who likes to work in a creative way, and when I saw your website and the way that you did your workshops, it just sounded really exciting, and I knew that there were going to be things that I could learn, that I could take and use with my own clients, and also the opportunity to mix with other coaches and also learn from them.
Perfect. That's lovely. Thank you. And during the workshops, what do you think you gained for yourself personally?
I think it's a really interesting question, Christina. I think it really brought home to me how, as a coach, you're always learning, and it's really good to get a sense of what those blind spots are, but also the very experiential nature of the workshops that you run, and the kind of different approaches that you have. It just really opened my eyes to what is possible in terms of working with clients.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you. And so which leads me on to my next question about, so what did you gain professionally? What did you gain professionally?
I think it definitely, I feel as if it's really made me a much more intuitive coach in terms of how I could work with clients, and the coach training I did had a very psychodynamic focus to it, and I think so there's always something under the surface that needs to be brought to the light, and I think the creative workshops really help do that. So I think it's made me much more intuitive as a coach, and it's given me so many different techniques that I hadn't had before that I could use with clients.
Fantastic. That's lovely. And sort of carrying on from that, as a professional coach, could you give me an example of how you introduce our work, and how you introduce creativity? Because sometimes we find that, particularly with coaches, they say, I'm not sure how I can introduce this into the work that I normally do.
It's always an invitation. It's always an invitation. And it's really about, when I'm talking to a client, when I first meet them, I do explain that I like to work in creative ways. And one of the things I want to do is to help them see things differently and to think differently, because if it's going to help them achieve some of the goals that they want. And so it's part of the contracting as well that I do. We're going to work in creative ways, but I also put them at ease, because they don't have to be the next Leonardo da Vinci. They don't. It's about expressing yourself, and whether that's just in writing words or drawing lines, it doesn't have to be art. It has to be self-expression. And it's got to mean something to them and only them, not to me. It has to represent something for them.
Yeah. And in your opinion, what has sort of been the responses of most of your clients? How have they accepted your introduction of something creative?
I think well, most of the clients that I've worked with have been quite okay to try it, and once they have experienced some of the more experiential techniques, they can absolutely see the value of it, because it's helped them understand something that before they couldn't understand.
Yeah, which I think is really the key to a lot of the creative work, that it kind of allows people to express something even though they don't know what they're expressing until you start to ask them questions about it. And overall, what has introducing creativity into your practice, how has that impacted on you and your clients, do you think?
I think it's definitely helped clients articulate things or understand things that are previously were things they just weren't able to articulate. But through creative techniques, whether it's drawing or even collages, it's tapped into something for them. So it's helped them get a better understanding of themselves and the things that drive them to behave in certain ways, so that they can things that perhaps no longer serve them, that perhaps served them in the past. And I think it's made me more confident and more rounded as a coach. I think the more people are so complex, and the more tools you have in your kit, in your toolbox to help your client, I think the better results that you're going to get for them.
And sort of finally, if you were to try and sort of talk another coach into doing this course, what might you say to them?
I was just looking at the course, the workshops that I've done with you, and I couldn't believe how many I had actually done. The very first one I did was boundaries and intuition,
right.
And that one really got me hooked. Right. Because it was just before the pandemic. So it was an in-person one, and we were working with boundaries and intuition, and it was so experiential. I left there thinking, I can't wait for the next one. Right. And then the pandemic came. So after that, all of the other sessions were online, but it was just as good. The experience was just as good. And all credit to you and Lindsay for being able to do that. To have the same impact online as we did in person.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you would like to add from what we've explored today?
I'd just like to say that all the sessions, including the virtual ones, they were always a really safe place for you to be able to express yourself, and everyone would contribute. I've met some lovely people through the sessions, and I think, as I said, as a coach, there's always something new to learn, and if you haven't worked in a creative way, it's an interesting thing to try and see whether that suits how you like to work.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you so much, Anna. I really appreciate you talking to us like this. You've made it really clear, and it's really lovely to hear actually from your perspective how the work that Lindsay and I do has really impacted on you.